We are talking The Blind King, also known as Dark Silence. This one directed by Raphael Picchio and is a slow-moving psychological horror rather than a kind of bombastic action horror. So the story here basically focuses on a young girl and her father. Now they are suffering after the loss of the mother. So they have moved into this kind of new house to try and get over it, basically try and get away from the past, but they are struggling. The girl in fact is particularly traumatised. She is no longer speaking. She can choose to speak, she just doesn't. And the father as well is having a very hard time dealing with it. Now as the movie progresses, basically these two are haunted, it seems, by some kind of strange presence that may lurk in this house. Now they have these kind of weird sort of dreams where they kind of almost have a shared sort of dream experience. Now, could it be some strange evil presence, perhaps the Blind King invading their dreams? Could it be the descent into madness? Or could it be bad acting? Let's discuss further. So let's talk about what works first of all with this movie. So the first thing I'd have to say, the actual script here, it's somewhat original and has some original ideas into it. Like I said, this is a slower moving plot, a psychological horror if you will, with a kind of little bit of kind of creature effects sort of splattered in there as well. But it is certainly more of a suspense driven film rather than a kind of like a jump scares or a gore type horror film, which is not going to be for everyone. So, but I did kind of give it some points for that kind of story elements and having some original ideas here as well. However, to be honest with you, this film, because of that, becomes a little bit dull. It does become rather plodding at times, and we seem to spend so long in these kind of dream sequences, we just kind of want to get out. We just kind of want to sort of leave these damn places and get to the kind of the real world plot, if you see what I mean. So I did feel there was some kind of pacing issues. I would say it's professionally shot. It looks kind of quite crisp and clean. The camera angles, the cinematography is all very good. The lighting, the use of shadows here and light are all pretty effective to give this house a kind of somewhat menacing look. In regards to the acting, the young girl doesn't really have any lines, so you can't really say so much about her acting. But the actual father figure, who is this kind of main character, sad to say, is not the strongest actor in the world. He's by no means the worst actor, but his line delivery in some areas seems to be way over the top, and other areas just seem to be quite wooden. So his kind of performance is a little bit all over the place, and because he comes across as being kind of unbelievable, and obviously he's in nearly every scene, it doesn't make it for a particularly kind of pleasant viewing experience. Now he has got a lot of kind of baggage and stuff, and etc etc. So his character is kind of settled as kind of like a grey character, if you like. He's kind of has some redeeming points, but he's clearly not a particularly great guy. But nonetheless, the performance unfortunately just wasn't there, in my opinion. When we come on to the kind of the effects and stuff like that, as the film progresses, we sort of see this Blind King, and he looks a little bit like a Slender Man. But as we get towards the end of the movie, we kind of see a little bit more in kind of close-ups and a bit more in kind of light. And I've got to say, it reminded me of a creature from the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm talking season 1. You know, don't be questioning why his mouth isn't moving while he's speaking and stuff like that. You just got to accept it. So there's a kind of twist that happens in this movie as well. I've got to say, I mean, it's good to have this weaving plot, so to speak, but I think the plot is, the twist, is somewhat obvious, and, you can kind of see it coming a mile off. But overall, I've got to say, although this film was quite well shot, it does have some original ideas in its script, the plodding, the kind of the pace of this film, the kind of subpar acting, the somewhat kind of questionable creature effects made for a below average viewing experience. So I wouldn't say this is certainly a terrible film, but it's certainly a below average one, and therefore I'm going to give this movie a 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? What have you thought of it? Leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.